Well, that was a screw up. I put the wrong intro there, but welcome to Boiler Ball post game in the lounge. We are here at Mackey Arena. Dustin Shooty, Sam Sprunger. Dustin, Coach Painter gets 500 tonight, and pretty dominant game after the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, it really was. And, you know, I don't know if we talked about it on the last post-game show, but Akron is a fast-paced team. They came in averaging just an eyelash under 100 points per game.
Yeah.
And you saw why. They moved the ball quickly. They were able to get tempo. And you could just see that. I think my microphone fell down here a little bit, so I'm going to try to hold it up a little bit.
It looks like
here.
It's working fine.
Nothing like a live show here to a little malfunction.
Just sober you up.
And so I think Purdue's defense a little bit kind of lost in transition there at times. They were playing from behind. They let up, gave up too many open shots, I thought, early.
Yes.
But once they kind of settled down, and especially then in the second half, I thought their defense was much better. And obviously they were able to, when they got those stops, they were able to take advantage. When they're shooting 39% from three-point range, they go 9 of 23. I think they shot somewhere around 58% from the floor tonight.
Yes, I believe it was 57 and some change.
Yeah, so just an all-around really good performance. But this is to beat a really good Akron team by 18 points, even if it's on your home court. Like, that was an impressive win.
And you and I were just talking on the way up here is 19 points that were 18-point win. It really honestly wasn't even that close late in that second half. They had as much as like a 25-point lead, and it just didn't seem like they could do any wrong. We talking from basically the 10-minute mark of the first half through about the 10-minute mark in the second half. Purdue out-rebounded Akron something to the nature of about 28-6. I mean, that was pretty dominating during that time frame.
And there was a 10-minute period in there, as you heard. I didn't even notice this during the game, but there was a 10-minute period where Akron didn't grab a rebound. So, the dominance that they had. And what's interesting, I don't know if it's because Trey Kaufman-Renn is on the floor and they have better size. I mean, I think that's a key part of it. Mm-hmm. But the comfort level, like Oscar Cluff looks like he's more and more comfortable each and every game.
Yeah.
Now, and I don't know that I would say this if it was just the Akron game, because their tallest player that played tonight is 6'9". Right. So how much can you really take away from that? But this is the second straight game where they just dominated the glass. They are plus 43 on the glass in their last two games.
Yeah.
Like, that's a really good recipe to win basketball games. And I put in my three thoughts tonight quickly after the game ended. Like, is there anybody that can keep Trey Kaufman-Renn and Oscar Cluff off the glass? Like, I think you're going to have to hope that they get into foul trouble at some point, because they are just rebounding with a tenacity. And I know it's only two games, so I don't want to put the cart before the horse. But when they rebound like that, it wasn't just the fact that the ball was coming to them. There were times when Oscar Cluff had two or three bodies in him. There's times when Trey Kaufman-Renn comes in from the free throw line to grab a rebound. Like, they're not just grabbing the ball. They are they're doing it with purpose.
Well, and we've brought this up a couple of times, and I brought it up to you, and it even came up a little bit in the press conference after the game or tonight. The fact that Trey Kaufman-Renn's playing in a position this year that better suits him, and I think he could average a lot more rebounding than what he was last year, because, like Coach Painter said, he doesn't have to bang around with the fives anymore. He can play people his own size.
Right, and I think he was only a sophomore, obviously, when Zach was here, but when he was alongside him, I don't know what his rebounding total was. I think it was about 4 per game. Now, that's probably around 13 minutes.
Yeah.
But also, Edey was just able to grab the ball. Like, there was nobody that was going to deny him a rebound. That's not quite the same with Oscar Cluff. He doesn't have that same fit. Like, he's 6. It's almost like, I thought about this the other day. When you're banging against Oscar Cluff, it's like banging against like a padded room. Like, it has a little bit of give, but you're not going anywhere. Zach Edey's like a brick wall. Like,
right.
You're gonna feel that the next day, right? And so I think that he just can't maybe. He's not the ball's. He's not a magnet to the ball, if that makes sense. And so I just think that it creates more opportunities for Trey Kaufman-Renn to kind of swoop in there, because he's at least taking that 5 player out of the rotation when it comes to rebounding.
Well, and we saw tonight, Oscar was so much bigger, and he had a bigger presence than many of the times he was the guy he was rebounding over. He was going up and over.
Yeah.
Well, bigger guys on TKR, even though TKR is one whale of a good basketball player, they're going to be able to go up and over him a little bit more. Whereas now he's playing a guy that's more size. They ain't doing that to him now.
Right. There's only right now, and I know we're 4 games in, so why are we talking about this? But like the only team I see right now that could maybe cause problems for Purdue on the glass is going to be Michigan because they have so much size. There might be a few other teams out there that maybe in terms of their athleticism and their size, but like like I said, it's not just that they're grabbing rebounds because they're tall. This wasn't just a fluke. Like the first 2 games, I think you could see the difference that Trey Kaufman-Renn makes. And through 2 games, he's 15. And then what did he have?
14.
14. So
no, wait, 15 and 15. Sorry.
He's averaging 30, or he's got
15.
30 rebounds, 15 rebounds per game through 2 games. And one of those was the 8th ranked team in the country. And we'll see what this team does in the Bahamas. But it's just, if they rebound like the way they've rebounded, your prediction of 40-0 comes true. Like,
hey, I am not at all wavering off of that 40-0 prediction. Well, let's look at the others. This was a game of a few different stories. Like we started out, Fletcher Lawyer within the first 3 minutes of the game had scored more points than he did all game against Alabama. He ended up with 16. And that was a pretty consistent, first half for him. But he wasn't needed after about halfway through the first half as much. So he kind of tailed off, but somebody else picked up. And TKR only scored 5 in the first half.
Yeah.
He had 8 rebounds, but he only had 5 points. He ends up the leading scorer in the game. So like it just seemed like one guy said, okay, I'm going to do it now. Yeah. Then this guy's going to take over. And oh, hey, by the way, let's this guy do it. And then you have Omer Meyer throwing in 14 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. He showed us a couple of times what it's going to look like after this year, and it made me really excited about it because while he's got some deficiencies right now, he's also a freshman.
Right.
Next year, he's going to be running the show, and he's going to have a full year under his belt.
Right. And I thought Omer, that was the most comfortable he's looked all season.
Yeah, I agree.
And, sometimes when these games get away and everybody's in a rhythm, like I thought tonight, everybody was in a rhythm.
Yeah.
And so I think that they kind of fed off of each other. But you're right. I think all 16 of Fletcher's points, I believe, came in the first half.
I think you're right.
I think he had 16 in the first half. Braden Smith, like the crazy thing is, like, I know we've already talked about Trey Kaufman-Renn and Oscar Cluff. I don't know if I've ever, this probably has happened, but I don't know if I've ever covered a Purdue game where 3 guys have ended the night with a double-double. All 3 of those guys.
I posted on your thing about it. I don't believe I've ever seen it. And there were people talking here amongst the media that it's happened, but they couldn't find when.
Yeah.
It's been that long.
The 3 Amigos at some point maybe did that. But
right.
Back to your point about Omer. Yeah, I mean, like he looked very comfortable. He was dishing out passes. And I made this comparison to, like, all off season, there were people who would say this kid's the next Braden Smith. He's just a little bit taller. And when you watch the first 3 games, I think I don't want to say you're scratching your head not believing it, but you're like, I don't know if he
might be good.
Yeah, but then tonight you watch him play and you go, oh, that's because he can get that he can get to that pull up. He can he can thread the needle. And when he gets more minutes and gets more opportunities, he's going to get even better. I thought tonight was the first, and tonight he played 23 minutes. I think that's probably the most he's played this season.
Yeah, I think it has to be. Like, just he didn't play. I think he was averaging like maybe 13 or 14 minutes up to that point. Yeah.
And so, yeah, when you get that kind of production, it just, like, now he's going to be playing even more confident. And this is exactly what you want to see in this type of game when you're playing a team like Akron. Just everybody getting involved, everybody feeding off of each other, and Omer was no exception. When he was in the ball game, somebody asked the question, like, and he was correct, there was no drop-off when he was in the game when Braden was out. And
the level of competition, it will vary. There will be times that Omer struggles. It's going to happen. But Braden Smith jumps back in, gets 10 assists. He again, he didn't have as many hockey assists, as I like to call them, last time tonight, but still running the show. Does anybody I mentioned it on Twitter and stuff. His shot fake is amazing.
Yeah, tonight he did. So you remember on Thursday I said, I don't know if anybody, I think it was Thursday, maybe it was last Friday. Either way, it was like he has that shot fake, and I don't know if he ever looks at a player Tonight he definitely did. When he had that
Oh,
shot
yeah,
fake from
yeah.
3-point land and the guy flew into like the second row, the banker over here, he just looked at him, took his time, and knocked down the three. And to have the confidence, Sam, not to just do that, but then to know you're going to knock down the shot. Like he knew he was going in. Like that I still compare it to Dwayne Wade. Like there's nobody that bites on the shot fake like they do Braden Smith. Dwayne Wade is the only other player I've ever seen that.
And tonight was the first night I actually saw like all sorts of people mentioning it on Twitter that, oh my gosh, look at this, his shot fake, you know, and one of the meme of Braden Smith's head floating and the guy jumping towards the judge or whatever but they put Braden Smith's head there, he misses him. It's like, that's about right, you know, because it just is absurd. And he does it without, like he's not traveling, like he's not doing anything illegal. It's just that awesome of a shot fake.
It is, and I think he hits that mid-range shot so frequently, or once he turns the corner, you kind of know when he's going to shoot. And so he can feel the way he feels that defender. And I've seen him. There's been a few times when he's gotten his shot blocked, but when he goes to that shot fake, it's like I would like to know the percent rate on what he converts after he shot fakes, because it's a wide open look, and he's got time to eat a cheeseburger, some French fries, order a shake before anybody's even remotely close to him. So it's one of those skills, and I say this too about Trey Kaufman-Renn, so I'm going to throw this out there too. The way he just catches the ball is such an underrated skill. Like there were times when the ball it seems like it's 8 feet out of his range, and he just sticks that big paw out there, watches it all the way in. And like it's just like those are the little things that make a championship caliber team. And to me, this team does all the little things right. I know we were kind of nitpicky in the first 2 games about them, but these last 2 games have kind of showed us why everybody's talking about them as the national championship favorite.
Well, in the first 2 games, we had to be nitpicky because we weren't full strength, and then we're like, okay, we've got to talk about this because these things TKR isn't here yet, so we've got to be. Now it doesn't seem like we have near as much. Now, that's not to say there aren't going to be times that we're going to have things to nitpick over, but hopefully it's just, man, what a I can't believe you're complaining about that. Yeah. That's what I'm hoping that we get to with the nitpickiness and worrying about it. I'm looking at these stats. Jakari Harris had only 6 points tonight, but he had one of the moves of down here in the second half. He made a spin move off of a feed from Omer Meyer that just made me go, holy cow. Like if we can see that being replicated more and more and more, I think Jakari Harris is gonna and you know what, it's not coming to the stat page right now. It just isn't. Right. But the times that he's making some moves, that play in the first half where he steals the ball, where they're kind of being nonchalant about it, he's showing that he's got to have a spot. He has minutes next year if he chooses to stay and works hard to improve.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think at some point in this season, it's going to break loose for him. He's worked too hard. Sometimes players go through ruts. He did this at the beginning of last season too. He just took him a while to kind of get into a rhythm. And I know you can look at the Indy game and say, where's that Jakari? But I think Jakari's done some really good things. It's just the ball's not falling for him. So what I thought was really good was you saw him go to the basket a couple of times and just to get the confidence back and say, I can score on this team. I did think there were times, I think there were 2 3-point shots where he had an open look, and usually Matt Painter wants them to pull the trigger on those. He didn't. And I don't know if, I don't keep track as to see if they scored on those possessions or not, but I'd like to see him have a little bit of a quick trigger, but I think he might be, maybe in his head a little bit after some poor performance. I don't even know if they're poor performances. Maybe just shots not falling is basically what it is. So I was, when he got that steal, that bucket, I think he got another layup in that game tonight. Just to have the confidence to say, all right, my jumper's not falling. Let's get some points at the rim. Even though he only finished with 6 tonight.
6 points. Yeah.
I think that was important for him from a confidence standpoint.
Jack Benner didn't score any points, but he had a couple of plays that I posted about while the game. He made a couple of plays that don't go in the stat book, but he altered a couple of easy layups, I think would be the best way to put it. Easy layups at the hoop He altered them, and they missed it, and Purdue rebounds it, takes it down the other way. And I don't know if they scored on both of them, but I know they got at least a bucket on one of those trips down the court. He's continuing to show some growth and some really good stuff from when he gets his minutes.
Right. I think, I know exactly what play you're talking about. And I don't remember. I feel like it was, I don't know if it was, I think he got the stop and then they went back to back on threes.
Okay.
I think Fletcher and then Daniel Jacobson maybe hit one. Which by the way, 7'4" knocking down threes. That's quite a weapon to have. But I mean, they talk about this all the time, and like even if you're not getting a ton of minutes, and let's see, what did Venter have?
5 minutes.
He had 5 minutes tonight. Okay. Well, mine says 13. All right. Anyway.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the plus minus. Sorry. 13 minutes. You are correct.
So 13 minutes tonight. And it's hard to play that consistently. And it's hard to do a lot of, like, we saw what he can do when he gets consistent minutes. We saw it in the first two games. He was incredibly productive against Evansville and against Oakland. I think he averaged 11 points and 6.5 rebounds. So he is capable. To be able to come in and say, you know what, I'm not going to get a lot of points, I'm not going to get a lot of boards, but I can come in and still make a difference. I can box out. I can make those plays. He did this in the Alabama game too, at near the end when they needed a stop. He just got in the way basically and altered a shot. To do those little things, again, I talked to earlier about doing those little things and having those skills is the difference between, you know, a Sweet 16 team and a championship team. And he's willing to do that. Even if, you know, he may get 6 minutes one game, he may get 15 the next, you just don't know. But his unselfishness, I think, has really shown through these first 4 games.
Yeah. Honestly, there were a couple of points like that. They gave up some rebounds in the beginning of that first half. I don't know. I mean, I can't really, after they go 10 minutes without letting them have any rebounds, I don't know that you can really even say, well, they need to clean that up. Yeah, they did. Right in the middle of the game, they did, you know. So this was an 18-point win, but like Akron hit 2 or 3 threes and a couple of buckets near the end that kind of went on a little run to kind of whittle that down to 18. This was a dominating game by Purdue.
Yeah, I thought so too. I mean, the way Akron plays lends itself to them kind of wearing down, and I think you saw Purdue's depth. Like you can't compete with it.
Right.
Like, if you're going to try to play that fast, you better hit a high percentage of your shots, and they did early.
Yeah,
and they
then went cold.
Yeah, then they finished shooting 40% and 39.4 from 3. So those aren't terrible, but that's not going to be good enough to beat one of the best offensive teams in college basketball.
Well, and Purdue matched them on percent.
Right.
So I mean that really it's kind of a wash almost. I mean. Akron hit more, but they also missed more, you know?
Right. Exactly. And so, yeah, I mean, they just like, it was a turbocharged game. Even the thing that I'll give Akron credit for was like, even through the makes, they're sprinting and they're trying, like if Purdue's guys were celebrating on buckets, which they weren't tonight, but if they did, they would have given up a 2 on the other end of the floor. Like that's how fast Akron was playing. And I'm sure that came through on the TV, but there were times it seemed like 3 seconds and they were jacking up a shot. Like it's kind of that Painter philosophy. Now they don't, obviously Purdue doesn't play quite the same way, but it's kind of that same philosophy as we want to shoot the ball. We can't rebound your turnover. Like get a shot up rather than turn it over. Like we at least want a shot at the basket. And they had their most turnovers tonight. They keep increasing their turnovers, Sam. They're up to 13 tonight.
I was going to say, I was getting ready to mention that too.
But, I mean, that I will give Akron a lot of credit for that because they put Purdue's defense. That's something they're going to see throughout the season, and it's a tester.
I was going to say, teams don't just turn it over when they're playing, you know, with no defense. So it takes the team that they're playing against that kind of, you know, that will force those. So that means Akron played a decent pressured them enough and put them in situations to where they turn the ball over, you know, for season high for Purdue. So just overall, really, really excited. Coach Painter gets win number 500 in the press conference. He was like, that's great for other people, but for me, it really just doesn't matter. You know, I think deep down, he's not blowing smoke. I think, yeah, great. I got 500, you know, and now I need 501 and now I need 502, you know. I think that's honestly, you look at our point guard who we've got in as our point guard. He kind of embodies exactly what Coach Painter is as a coach.
Yeah.
Like, they don't care about the personal accolades. They want the team to win overall.
Right. I think that's what everybody, that's what everybody says. It's they put the team before me, and he is.
No, see that right there? That's the
That's
microphone.
the microphone.
Yeah.
I'm learning so much on this live show. He's, it's always team before me. And Matt Painter kind of embodies that. And I think this will mean something to him, not just, and somebody asked you a great question, like, what's it mean to do it at your alma mater? They stole my question, by the way. They stole all my questions tonight, so I wasn't able to get one out there.
I was going to ask the rebound question, and they got stolen from
I was going to
me,
ask about the, Akron and how that might help the NCAA tournament. So everybody stole. Usually I can get one in, but tonight everybody had the same questions as me, so I got to do better next time. But to your point, I think it does mean something, the fact that he was able to do it here at Purdue. But that's not when you also have such high expectations and there's so much on the line this season. I think it's hard to focus on that. It's great. I got 500. Now I got to go get 501, and we got to get better because we know what the expectation is. And the expectation is not Final Four or bust like it was 2 years ago. It is national championship or bust.
Hey, I don't mind that. 40-0, buddy. I mean, that's
isn't that what everybody wants?
Well,
pressure's earned.
Yeah, absolutely. And targets are painted because you've earned the target,
exactly.
and I think the returning of all of what they had from last year's team, and people going, well, they were only a Sweet 16 team. Do you realize they gave up a 2-time National Player of the Year and still made the Sweet 16? And almost beat Houston. And
I was going to say one basket, one bad call, whatever you want to look at it, from the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
And Tennessee got run out of the gym by Houston in that Elite Eight. So who's to say Purdue couldn't have gone Final Four back-to-back?
Yeah.
I don't think they would have won a game in the Final Four last year, but they were seconds away from potentially getting back to the Final Four.
Yeah. And so this year, that target is, okay, you returned to everybody. You've improved even. Okay, now you've got the target. Purdue's earned it.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that Coach Painter is the one running the show, I think helps immensely because he's got a very level head most of the time. I don't know the last time I saw him, if I ever have, recall him ever getting a technical foul.
It happened.
He gets fired up, but I don't. When did it happen?
It happened last year against Penn State on the road.
Oh, okay. I missed. I must not have watched that game.
Well, he didn't miss much. So it happened because, and then after the game, he said, basically Purdue had no energy in that game. They got run out.
They got run out of the gym. Yeah.
By Penn State, which
that's why I didn't. I turned it off.
Yeah, that's fair. I think he would have wanted to turn it off, but he made the comment like, if our guys aren't going to be fired up, I'm going to try to fire them up.
Sure.
And so that was the effort. Basically, it wasn't an argument. It was just trying to motivate his team. But that was his first technical foul in 15 years, I believe.
I was going to say it's few and far between, and that to me says you've got the right guy at the helm. Yeah. Not a lot's going to fluster him. Yeah, he's going to argue. Yeah, he's going to be upset with referees, but there are ways to talk to referees. And
to that point, I've always thought this too. Like when you argue, don't you want to and Tom Izzo's a legendary coach, but when you argue over every single call, isn't the official just at some point going to be like, okay, that's just Tom Izzo. That's who he is. But if Matt Painter's doing it, you're like, oh, maybe I did mess it up. Like he doesn't argue with me too often. Right. He doesn't get in my ear too often. Right. And so that's what I think the difference is. And he's kind of learned about that. And he's, there's been, to your technical foul point, I've heard him talk about this before where people would say, Purdue didn't come in with any energy. Why didn't you get a technical foul? And he's like, because a technical foul doesn't do us any good in those situations. It's like, I've been doing this a long time. Like, I don't want to give them 2 or 4 points.
Right. Yeah.
And so but in certain situations, like I said, it took 1 in 15 years for him to get a technical, to feel like he needed to get a technical foul.
And it didn't do much good.
No, it didn't. No, it did no good. Yeah.
Well, 97-79 victory for Purdue over Akron. Coach Painter gets number 500. They're not back for another 3 weeks here at Mackey Arena. I guess 2 weeks. 2 weeks, not 3 weeks. 2 weeks. Black Friday, they host Eastern Illinois. They go to the Baja Mar now, take on Memphis, and then maybe Texas Tech they'll take on either Texas Tech or Wake Forest. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, I know this isn't a preview, but we can at least kind of. Yeah, Memphis has got no returning guys from what I see on their roster.
Yeah, there's a lot of unknown for me for Memphis. So I think to me, this is go to, I mean, I'd be more worried about that second game.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you focus on the one that you have in front of you, and then you do what you can in that second game. I think this is a game though where Purdue just focuses on itself and says, "You see how we rebounded these last
Let's
two games?
keep doing it.
Let's keep rebounding that way." And then
agree.
you have the trust in your not only your three returners, but then I think there's a lot of trust now in Oscar Cluff, and then the other guys, CJ Cox, Jakari Harris, guys that played last year that are back. I think there's a lot of trust in them. So I think this is these early season tournaments, which Purdue's had a ton of success in.
I was just getting ready to say how many straight years it's been.
4 or 5.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought last year might have been the 5th year in a row that they've won a tournament style.
Yes,
in the preseason.
I believe so. I think they won the one before Caleb first, and then won every one since then. I could be wrong on that, but it's 4 or 5. They know how to win these things, and
it gets them ready for March.
It does, and so. But I'm like I said, if they rebound the way they have, it's going to be really hard to beat them.
Yep, absolutely. Well, that's going to wrap it up for Boiler Ball post game in the lounge. A late night here at Mackey Arena. We're getting ready. Well, Dustin's going to his hotel. I'm going home, but it's always amazing how loud it gets in this place. You know, you're sitting here trying to listen and see if you can hear the band, and no, you can't because the crowd's so much louder than them. But really, just a great environment to take in a basketball game, and really a great way to see number 500 for Coach Painter. And well, Dustin, I think you're my sub for Grant this week when it comes to Boilermaker Lounge, and I do apologize about the intro music there. I forgot to load up the correct intro for the post game show.
It's all right. That's just getting us prepped for this week.
That's right. Yes, but what a great game and outcome for the Boilermakers. But for Dustin Schutte, I'm Sam Sprunger. We'll see you next week.